Every scrap. Quin wanted to hurt him. From the moment he saw the man standing precariously on the horse's back, his forehead sheened with sweat, wrists bound, a dirty rope noosed around his neck and tied to the tree branch above, Quin yearned to send the horse bolting, to hear the wet, clean snap of bone. "Is someone there?" the prisoner asked, his voice a dusty croak. Quin wondered how long he'd been strung up. The mare seemed content to stay in one place, flicking her tail against the whiteflies. "Please," the man said, "if you're there, please help me." Quin stayed silent, hidden between a copse of swin trees. His fingers ticked with restless energy. He still marveled at it, the twitchy heat in his hands. Magic. He no longer had the 2 stones, the red Fojuan wren and the black wheel with 7 spokes Angelyne had wielded beneath the Snow Queen's palace. "Death is the final axis," she'd said. "It tilts your tidy elements askew." As the walls crumbled down around him, he'd almost lost far more than that. Somehow he had managed to stagger out of the palace, only to be buried moments later in an avalanche. Face crushed against hard-packed snow, arms pinned to his sides, the surrounding whiteness so complete it turned to black. He couldn't breathe. Seconds before losing consciousness, he'd felt his hands warming. All around him, the ice lit with a smoky red glow. The snow began to shift, softening to slush. Only when he had stumbled onto his knees, gasping, did he see the scarlet flames flickering between his palms. He had burned his way out. The prisoner's boot started to slip on the horse's back. He caught himself just before falling. "I don't know who you are," the man whimpered, "but I'll give you everything I own. I swear by the 4 gods, the 4 great goddesses, whoever you believe in." Whomever, Quin thought. The question of belief was really a question of power. And power, it seemed, boiled down to magic. The real question he'd been asking himself since crawling out of the snow was this: had the 2 stones given him magic? Or had it been lurking inside him all along? A quiet, growing power, even during his most vulnerable moments? Perhaps it existed because of those moments. Since escaping the Snow Kingdom, he'd spent long hours recounting his litany of losses, including the first. The memory came in brutal slashes. The shifting shadows of the crypt, the coldness in his father's eyes, his music teacher's screams as Quin stood by, doing nothing. When he thought of the horrors of that night, his palms ached with hungry heat. No Duja had bothered to give him magic lessons. Why would they? They assumed he was powerless. Everyone had assumed that, his whole life. First his father, shaming and abusing him for who he was. Then Mia Rose, dragging him on an adventure he'd never asked to go on. Then Pilar d'Aquila, who had launched the arrow that nearly killed him, and the arrow that did kill his sister Kari. Of course, Angelyne Rose had rendered him more powerless than anyone. She had controlled him for months, hurt and abused him, burrowing into his head and heart so successfully that even after she'd stopped enthralling him, he did her bidding so mechanically, she no longer had to ask. If magic was born of a power imbalance, one person being stripped of agency in body, mind, and spirit, it was only a matter of time before he bloomed. As Quin had risen from the avalanche that should have been his grave, he'd seen a boat sailing out of the harbor. He had only been able to make out 3 shapes, but he'd had no doubt to whom they belonged. Angelyne, Pilar, Mia. In that moment, he realized the truth. They had never loved him, not a single one of them.